On today's Star Wars Legends lore video, we count down the 5 most elite Imperial Guards. Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another video. It's been a long time since I've done a top 5 list, so if you enjoyed today's content, make sure to leave a thumbs up and a comment. Today, we'll be examining the branch of the Imperial military that guards and serves directly Emperor Palpatine. These are all extraordinarily elite fighting units who work very closely with Palpatine himself. So I don't see Senate guards, for example, as true Imperial guards, so they won't be considered on this list. At number 5, the most basic of the basic is the Red Guard. During the waning days of the Republic, Palpatine was a target for assassination attempts, whether legitimate or created by himself. As some background, prior to this point, the Republic had made use of Senate guards, which protected politicians, the Senate itself, and just the general government institutions of the Republic. Palpatine essentially co-opted this force, taking the best of the best from the Senate guards as his personal protectors. Very little was known about the actual Red Guard Corps, though they served Palpatine absolutely and were obviously very skilled and well trained. The Red Guards were formally transformed sometime after the formation of the Empire, where the selection and training was even further developed. They became our next entry, the Imperial Royal Guard. Royal Guards were an extremely advanced force of bodyguards, soldiers, and assassins loyal to Palpatine. In the Imperial era, Royal Guards were first selected for training from the most impressive stormtroopers, who then went through a variety of deadly training programs. Over half of those who entered the Royal Guard program died, with often a single class only producing a handful or sometimes even one full guardsman. The Royal Guards were trained in hand-to-hand combat, a variety of weapons, and were incredibly deadly. One of my favorite Royal Guards is Grodin Tierce from the Thrawn duology. His character shows off the sheer political and military competence of one of these soldiers, and he stood as a capable aide to Thrawn, so much so that he was the basis for a new super soldier cloning process, and later he was a part of the triumvirate which faked Thrawn's return to the galaxy. Next up, we have something completely different, the Imperial Sentinel. Sentinels were lab-grown automatons, gigantic beings slave to the minds of dark side adepts. Thus, a Sentinel was fully loyal and, in fact, incapable of free will. The beings were nonetheless incredibly powerful, several times more so than a standard Imperial Guard, and were responsible for protecting the most secretive places in the galaxy, including the interior of the Imperial Palace, the 2 Eclipse Super Star Destroyers, and the secret Imperial throne world of Biss. The main limit of the Sentinel is also one of their strengths. They require the control of dark side adepts. That means that if the adept is incapacitated, killed, or even worse, turns against Palpatine, the guard will be, at the very least, no longer an asset. The question is, should Sentinels be considered Royal Guards? Well, I think so. They're specifically used to protect Palpatine and sensitive Imperial locations, and are visually similar to standard guards. In fact, their design was based largely on concept art for Return of the Jedi. Next up, however, are 2 specialized and actually quite similar elite Imperial Guard subunits. First up are Shadow Guards, a faction which appeared primarily in the Force Unleashed project. I'm going to keep this entry short, because to be honest, besides for some cool art, I don't find the Shadow Guards very interesting. They're mostly a powerful enemy to fight in a video game. They were elite Imperial Guards trained with the Force. Unlike most of the units on this list, they spent a lot more time away from Palpatine, and sometimes worked under others like Darth Vader directly. How powerful they were with the Force is unknown. The Essential Guide says that they were somewhat trained, and they used their skills mostly to hunt surviving Jedi. At number 1, we have my favorite, the Sovereign Protector. I've got a couple of quotes from the Dark Empire sourcebook that I'd like to read. The Sovereign Protector is the most elite order of the Emperor's bodyguards, selected from the main body of the crimson-robed Royal Guard. They are stationed in small groups throughout the Empire as watchmen over all places and monasteries that Palpatine haunts, as well as guarding the Emperor. No other group of soldiers in the entire galaxy, Empire or Republic, is as highly trained or motivated. I think that says it all. Not only are Sovereign Protectors the most elite Imperial Guardsmen, they also seem to be the most elite soldiers in the entire galaxy. This is how important protecting Palpatine was, and at least one Sovereign Protector was placed nearby to the Emperor at all times. Interestingly, the Dark Empire sourcebook also also gives an explanation for why the Empire seemingly has an endless supply of elite units. And I quote, "By creating higher and higher circles of elite status, it motivates them all to push themselves constantly. Just as the Royal Guards are the finest of the Imperial Stormtrooper, so too are the Protectors the highest order yet." So the role of Sovereign Protector was something to strive for, and it's possible that had Palpatine remained for longer, a more dedicated elite guard unit would have been created. Also worth noting that like Shadow Guards, Sovereign Protectors received dark side training, but it's likely that if an individual showed incredible force sensitivity, they would have received training as a dark side adept, where they would have served a different role. But that's just what I think. Do you agree with my top 5 list? Did I miss something? Do you think the Imperial Sentinel is properly a guard? Let me know all of that and more down in the comment section. Thanks again for watching, guys. As always, this has been EckhartsLadder. May the Force be with you.